Hi, I am going to explain what happens and causes the reaction of the Alka-Seltzer lava lamp lab. As you can see, I poured 3/4 of water into the water bottle and oil up to the plastic label. The oil stays on top rather than sinking and mixing to the bottom because water has a greater density than oil, which makes the oil stay on top. This experiment is called suspension because a suspension is a mixture in which small particles of a substance are dispersed throughout a gas or liquid. This can be shown because the particles of the substance are big enough to eventually settle. The oil and the water is a heterogeneous mixture because they are different substances that can be separated very easily. A homogeneous mixture is the same substance and it can't be separated easily, and this is shown by the food coloring in the water. The water itself is a pure substance, and it also is a compound in a molecule because H2O has 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. Oil is a compound in a molecule because there are 2 hydrogen atoms and carbon atoms too. They are also bonded together to make a compound. When you start putting in the food coloring, you can see that it sits on top of the oil and then gradually starts to sink and mix into the water. This happens because of gravity that pulls down the food coloring into the water and mixes it. Also, the small drops of food coloring move slowly through the oil and sink because they are heavier. The chemical reaction of this experiment is when you put the Alka-Seltzer tablets in the mixture. As you can see, the food coloring is mixing with the water to form a homogeneous mixture. The chemical reaction of this experiment is when you put the Alka-Seltzer tablets in the mixture. The tablet dissolves, which makes it the solute, and the water is the solvent. This whole experiment has a high solubility. When the tablet dissolves, it forms tiny bubbles of carbon dioxide which form throughout the bottle. This happens because Alka-Seltzer tablets are made of citric acid and sodium bicarbonate, which is baking soda. So when you put it in, the acid and the baking soda react, which causes it to fizz. I decided to draw out a model to show you what it looks like. The physical change of this experiment is when the food coloring was added to the water, which this is the water, and it was added to the water because the mixture turned the same color as the food coloring and there were no new substances that occurred. The chemical change is the bubbles that occurred. So these are the carbon dioxide bubbles that were forming, and because of the Alka-Seltzer tablet, which this then dropped into, and you break it into 4 pieces and you dropped it into this, so it fell to the bottom and then the bubbles started to form. The chemical change or the physical properties of this experiment is that the color of the water is blue and the oil is a yellow color, and the water, oil, and food coloring are all liquids, and the bubbles that form from the Alka-Seltzer tablet are a gas. Hope you had a fun time watching and learned about this lab and how this experiment was caused.